Hello again, Structweb. Today I'm bringing you another video about Godfall, and this one will be about the various endgame loops and the bosses you could encounter in the game. There are a few different types of reviews. One of them was recently in an interview with Gamebyte, so some quotes I have used are from that interview. And yesterday they held a celebration kind of event on YouTube, and in this celebration event they provided a ton of info. I'm actually not going to provide all of the info, but I'm going to provide as much info as I can fit in this video to make it reasonably long. I'm going to quickly just mention the three types of endgame I managed to find out about. First of all, there's something that's not really endgame, the regular Tower of Chaos, not the Ascended Tower of Chaos, the regular Tower of Chaos, which you would be encountering as you progress through the story. But you beat the final boss called Macros, and then the real fun starts. Dreamstones, more about Dreamstones in a moment, and throughout that you always have the option for side missions. But first of all, let's talk about level cap. Level cap is 50, as we've seen from screenshots. It has been confirmed the level cap is 50, and you will get a single skill point each time you level up. That means you get at level 50 49 skill points. But that's not the end of it. You will be able to acquire additional skill points as you complete other activities throughout your journey. And as you go to the end game loops and start doing those loops, there will be ways for you to continue acquiring more skill points, and as you acquire those more skill points, you can continue filling out your skill grid. But the thing is, you're obviously not gonna be able to fill out the skill grid completely, which is nice. This means you can start exploring more complex builds into the game once you reach the end game, but there's still gonna be a finite point to how many skill points you can get extra from those end game loops. Most likely, this is just my guess, because they confirmed there's gonna be 18 Dreamstones. My guess is each time you complete a Dreamstone for the first time, you would get an extra skill point. This is just my guess, and I'm guessing that 68 points would be probably what we get, maybe more. Maybe there's gonna be some other things that would give us points, but we'll see how that goes. And yeah, you will definitely not be able to completely max out your skill grid, but there's still gonna be a lot of skill points to use. And yeah, we will be forced to make a choice with our build path. We will be forced. Do we want to go crit build? Do we want to go more defensive, more support? Do we want to go ailments, and so on? So now, something very important that many people might be wondering is the loot instanced? Is there gonna be people ninja looting my shinies? And the answer is yes, the loot is gonna be instanced, but people will not be able to ninja loot your shinies as a result of that, which is nice. No need to worry. It's 2020. I mean, not having instance loot would have been preposterous at this point in a game like this. So yeah, enjoy the loot. It's yours. No one can touch it other than you. I don't think there's any trading. At least they haven't talked about trading. But yeah, in the full game, you can embark on an entire campaign as well as side quest called hunts. And let's talk about the hunts. The hunts are something that can provide an even more challenging versions of the bosses from the story. So once we are done, the endgame challenges await us at the Tower of Trials, and there are over 10 mid bosses that you can encounter during the hunt missions. But the Tower of Trials and the hunt missions are separate, so keep that in mind. And there's Ascended Tower of Trials that you start once you finish the story. During those hunt missions, each of those bosses would have their own abilities, traits and capabilities. Some of them will be very challenging, especially at higher difficulties. So hunts maybe would be some sort of boss rush missions, because later on when I talk about Dreamstones, you would realize how hunts sounds like something where it's probably just the boss fight instead of a full 3-round challenge Dreamstone or something like that. And we'll see how exactly this pans out. So something else as a quote is one example of such such whoop, endgame whoop, is the Tower of Trials. Tower of Trials is a roguelike endgame challenge mode accessed within the monolith. It can be played solo or co-op. As players complete the combat trials and progress up the elevator in the center of the monolith, the enemies will get stronger, and luckily the players can earn boons and item rewards on their way up. And this is, by the way, endless. This is endless. Players first complete the elevator encounter trial by defeating waves of enemies to be rewarded with keys, a currency specific to Tower of Trials, and will get reset to 0 when the player exits Tower of Trials. So those keys are only while you're within it. If you exit, you lose them. Players then choose the type of reward they'd like to earn next by picking a doorway with the corresponding reward types icon on it. There are several types of reward types that the player can earn, but only if they walk through the doorway and defeat the room encounter trial. So not only do you have the option to choose what reward you want to take, but after you choose, you have to go through a final encounter for that trial, so that you can have access to that wood that's hidden in this room. Many times a chest that requires a certain number of keys to open can spawn as well, and the players will also be allowed to progress back to the elevator encounter after defeating the particular room encounter trial. This will allow us to interact with the center console to go up a floor and trigger the next trial. So this is exactly what those keys would be used for when we find such a special chest that requires them. Then we're looking forward to, the developer said we're looking forward to sharing more details on additional endgame modes like Dreamstones in the near future, and that future was yesterday. And this is what else I might want to talk about. The Dreamstones and then the Ascended Tower of Trials. That's what I'm going to talk about. So the Dreamstones are a system that allows players to essentially explore alternate and ideal realities from Kuzmira's mind. This will allow us to face old adversaries / bosses that have been enhanced and are stronger. The way Dreamstones work, I'm gonna try and put it in a simple way. I'm also gonna put those things I'm saying on your screen. You unlock the first Dreamstone after beating the campaign. There are 18 Dreamstones in total that are meant to be replayable, and as in Dick Haynes' words, he said this is like a roguelike minigame. You have to complete 3 rounds of the Dreamstone. Each Dreamstone has 3 rounds, and the rounds are randomly generated activities, missions, and encounters with past mid-bosses and end bosses. When you first start a Dreamstone, you'll be given 2 options: fight an enemy A or fight enemy B, which would be the end boss, the final encounter of that Dreamstone. And you have to make your way through 2 more rounds before you reach 3 rounds actually before you eventually culminate with that final encounter. So you start the mission, and there are various activities that accumulate to that final fight. If you successfully complete a round in the Dreamstone, you will be rewarded with bonus loot, plus given a temporary buff boon that lasts until the Dreamstone's end. And you learn more about the enhancements that make the final boss stronger, which is kind of like boss affixes, bot modifiers, and you will be getting some intel on those. However, if you fail a round in the Dreamstone, it does not end there. You keep going further, but you miss out on the boon buff, on the intel that you could have gotten about the final boss, and you miss out that bonus loot, which would be from that round. And this makes the final challenge more difficult because you're losing that buff and you're losing that opportunity to get extra loot. So the wood that drops is randomly generated. Everything there is randomly generated. However, there are certain items that will only drop in certain activities. More about that later, which is more of the Ascend the Tower of Trials and the Ultimate Challenge. That's where certain items would only drop in that activity. And Dick Haynes now further specified about this, that every boon feels like a new artifact that you're picking up that enhances your build in perhaps ways that you hadn't originally anticipated, and that makes it so much more fun to try and complete those challenges to see how much easier the final boss would get if you have this boon, how it would synergize with your build. And yeah, that's very fun. And the first 9 Dreamstones are called the first act and the first part of the end game. It's meant to be used in order to get us as the players to the max level, which is 50, and to make sure that our build is really ready for the, as DKN said, end game. So once you complete the first 9 Dreamstones, you're going to unlock the 10th Dreamstone, which will be part of the second act of another 9 total Dreamstones, as well as you would unlock the second endgame loop, which is the Ascended Tower of Trials. The Ascended Tower of Trials is similar to the Tower of Trials that you experience through the various story beats. This, however, goes indefinitely. You keep climbing floors endlessly, you keep collecting buffs from each floor you've successfully completed, and it's the ultimate test of players' skills, and it's where you'll be pushing your builds to their limits to see how far can I go with my build. There's an indefinite scaling difficulty, and you acquire boons as you climb the tower, as said. So basically the idea behind this, how far can I go with this? How far would my gear, my build take me before I need an upgrade of some sort, before I need to rework my build, before I need to approach it differently, before I get good and start dodging properly and blocking properly. This will be, I'm not a big fan of endless endgame activities. I'm gonna be honest, it seems like a no-life competition to me when there is an endless mode, because it in the end it translates to time spent. If you take the skill out of the equation, assuming people are on equal skill, it ends up turning into an endless no-life competition regarding who has more time to spend playing the game. Of course, that is only if there is a leaderboard, a waterboard attached to it. If there's no waterboard, people would still be waving their E-pins in other people's faces. Look at my horse is amazing, that kind of thing. But there's not gonna be an official leaderboard. But if there is, then that completely changes the way I would look at this. I personally wouldn't care if someone is reaching stage 100 or 200 or 300. I only would care about what I reach. That's how I approach such types of activities. But for build making purposes, I would try and make some fun builds that can at least reach a reasonable level of those towers when I delve into build making, when I acquire some sweet wood for fun builds. So there is unique wood that only drops in the Tower of Trials, and this has been confirmed, and this would be the final piece of a build. For example, you really need that weapon, and you know this weapon exists, and you know that this would be the cherry of the cake, of the ice cream, that you really need for your build to kind of complete it, to make it a whole piece. So that final piece of the puzzle will be those items that only drop in the Tower of Trials. So I hope all this information is useful. I hope you're excited about it as I am. I hope you want to try every single out of the 12 Valorplates with different builds, which would be Silvermane, Phoenix, Greyhawk, Vertigo, Hinterquo, Illumina, Mesa, Typhon, Armistice, Mobius, Aegis Horn, and Bulwark. And yeah, I will be making some more content for this maybe tomorrow, maybe the day after tomorrow, as the game gets closer to launch and as I get more information from various sources. To get notified when I upload more content like this or similar for this game or other games like it, such as wooters of all varieties, you could subscribe to my channel, hit the bell button to not miss out on notifications, and optionally you can even join as a member of the Struck Club and get access to emotes, badges or other perks such as private tutorials and things like that. And I would like to use this part of the video to thank the people who are currently YouTube members of the Struck Club. Thanks for watching this video, keep it cool, and until next time, Struck Club. Goodbye.